start calling your boys your men because those
Welcome,
voices.
everybody. We've just gone live. Amy and I are talking about family stuff as we wait to go live here. Thanks for joining us. Let us know in the chat window, either on YouTube itself or on the watching page, where a number of you are, where you can see a chat window. Feel free to let us know where you are, what the weather's like. It's really cold here in Melbourne today, and I have the back door open in case the dog wants to go out. So I'm just going to suck it up and be okay with that. Amy, what's it like for you? I haven't even asked. You're in a t-shirt, so you must be okay.
Yeah, no, we've been high 80s, low 90s.
Oh, no. Oh,
Sorry,
my gosh.
Fahrenheit. I'm in Fahrenheit.
That's
I'm
not,
sorry.
no, I kind of know now. I've been around you guys long enough to know. 70s, I think, is equivalent to our 20-something degrees. So that's like a pleasant, warm temperature. 80s and 90s is getting warm, well, hot. So there you go. Thank you for coming. I can see a few people have typed in. Hello, Diana. Diana's such a regular. Well done. You mustn't work on a Wednesday, Diana, when I run these. Maybe it's a flexible time for you. And Carmen's from Maryland, and Terry. Hello, Terry. And Judith. Oh, Judith. Oh, good. Yeah. Wakelet. Yeah. I know. It's great. And Julie and Sandra. All the regulars are here. And Debbie. Montreal. What's the weather like in Montreal? Is it nice? A little bit cooler, I guess, there? I don't know. Oh, you made it due to you've gone into lockdown now too, have you?
Jacinta did. Yeah, this morning I read that in New
Oh.
Zealand, they went into lockdown. They got one case of the Delta variant. Is that right, Judith?
Yeah, I think so. It was yesterday, one case. So, Judith, where in New Zealand? Not the whole of New Zealand lockdown, surely. Just whichever city it was.
I thought it was all.
It could totally be.
That's what I thought. I read that.
I think they didn't know the source of it. That's always the concerning thing. Hello from Seattle, says Julie. Yeah, all of New Zealand. Wow. Oh, well. You've joined us, your Australian friends. They're calling our current one in Melbourne, they're calling it lockdown 6.3 because it's lockdown number 6, but it was like it was going to be for 1 week, and then they made it 2 weeks, and now it's another 2 weeks, like 4 weeks total. We don't even know if it'll actually end then. Anyway, can't complain too much, really. Hello to Rebecca and Brenda. Brenda's in Canada too. Excellent. Anne's in Hudson Valley, New York area. 1 case in Auckland. Oh, more in Auckland. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Everyone's just fatigued of the whole thing right now here. It's just, you know what it's like. But I do look at what's happening in other places in the world and think we really don't have much to complain about. So we'll be okay. Well, I'm excited about today. We'll get started in about 4 minutes or so from now. Clearly, things seem to be better this time around. Last time we did a Q&A session and our video was all wrong on the page. Anyway, it was totally my fault, by the way. I messed it up, and not the people I work with, and they all had to kind of fix it behind the scenes. It's very funny. Hello to Suzanne. VA. Don't tell me VA. Oh, VA. That's not Vermont, is it? No.
Virginia. Yeah, Virginia, South Carolina, Canberra. Oh, David, I'm not going to say it right. Canberra, Canada, Europe. I'm hoping Europe is okay the next few weeks I'm visiting. Dale, I hope so too.
Oh, wow. We're not allowed out of the country. We just can't leave. Coyotes, Canberra. Yeah. David,
Thank
I
you.
got you, guys. He's being silly. I did actually hear someone say it exactly like that the other day. It made me laugh.
Canberra.
Someone on TV who wasn't from Australia. It's like when people say Melbourne or Geelong. Hello.
That would be me.
Well, I mean, why would you know how to pronounce it, really?
I am heading back to TMEA this
Oh,
coming
I
February if
know.
my school lets me out. There might be but currently I am coming to TMEA this year.
Oh, I would like to.
TMEA, NJMEA, and then in Australia, I'm virtually coming into the Remix or conference.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah.
I was going to apply to present there, but it's in January, and I just really try to attempt to have some kind of time off in January.
Well,
And it's a
it's
really great
virtual for
conference.
me.
Yeah, I know. And well, it probably would end up being virtual for me too, because who knows? Well, it might not. Yes. I might. Yeah, anyway, I think it's probably past the time for call for presentations, but I'll have a look maybe. Yeah,
Join
it's just
me. Come on
yeah,
with me.
good.
I'm doing the free tech resources. You know
Oh,
it. Come with
fabulous.
me. we'll
Oh.
StreamYard in. It will be awesome.
Just double act like this. Oh, the ORF conference is fantastic. It's such a great one. I love in the past when I've been to it, it's one of those really practical hands-on ones. So I go join all the sessions, and even though I don't really have a reason to use a lot of the stuff that I learn, I love it. There was Keith Terry a few years ago who does body percussion stuff. I don't know if you've ever seen him. He's amazing. And I loved his sessions. I just had the best time. It was great.
Fabulous.
Yeah. How we go for time? Hoping, I'm just going back to comments. Colleen's in Washington and TMEA. I'm so sad. Anyway, Lynn's in New Zealand too. Locked down as well, I'm guessing. Jonah Joy from the Philippines. Welcome. The Philippines has been very locked down too. I know this because I have a couple of people who work for me who are in the Philippines. Hello from Indiana, South Korea, Uni, Megan. Yeah, Dale. Yep, ORF workshops are fantastic. I really think it's definitely worthwhile. Kirali's in Canberra as well, or Canberra. Carolyn's in Nambucca Heads. Awesome. A couple of people on YouTube, or at least one. All right. I think we're just about ready to get started. I will just take Amy away. We'll see her at the end. Amy will be hanging out in the chat windows on all things. I always think of that cat gif where the cat's going nuts on a keyboard. That's Amy during those sessions. All right, I'm going to turn that off, and I will also share my screen. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Oh. Clicked the wrong button. There we go. Oh, and I've just seen a comment from Jonathan Harvey. He's in Werribee. Welcome, Jonathan. You're in a remote learning situation as well, I think. Okay, excellent. So today's session, let's get started. Now, this is all about Wakelet, which I'm super excited about. And when I was on the screen, I don't know if you noticed, but I have a Wakelet t-shirt on today, which I got sent by the lovely Wakelet people. And if you're a member of the Midnight Music community, I have a couple to give away, plus a few stickers. So that's kind of cool. Now, today's session I am really happy about because I've been using Wakelet for quite some time, and I think it's a great tool, and there's lots of scope for using it in music education. It works really well for music educators and in lots of other areas as well. So if I haven't met you before, welcome to this session. I am Katie and I'm located in Melbourne, Australia. I do a podcast. Sometimes it's on a little bit of a hiatus at the moment, but I will be getting back into that. I have a blog, website, and a few other things, and also a community, which is a private community for music teachers who want to learn more about technology. Lots of courses and so on. I also have 2 boys and a dog that you can see there on the screen. You may well hear from the dog at some point. And just a few housekeeping issues. If you do have tech issues, it's usually internet related. So just refresh, come out or in of the session, just try again. Should be all fine. It's recorded, obviously, and so will be available after the fact anyway. A copy of my slides will be provided too. So if you don't want to take mad notes while you're watching today, that's totally fine. Amy, that you saw earlier, is moderating the chat window. Thank you, Amy. And also on YouTube as well. We will do a Q&A session at the very end. I'll try to cover stuff as I go, but we'll do the longer Q&A at the very end. I just left this slide in here from a previous webinar, but just to let you know, because people like to download this each year when I update it. It's a guide for free music tech resources. So if you'd like to download that, that's the link there. And there are a number of new things in there this year. We cleaned it up a little bit, got rid of some things which weren't working anymore, added lots of new things. And already, since we've published this one, I think in June this year, I've already started my list for next year's guide. So there you go. It happens every time. Okay, so about this session, we're going to talk about what Wakelet actually is. If you've never seen it before, you might be wondering that, why it is useful, and I really want to show some examples of how it can be used in music education. I think it's really useful to see concrete examples of the way other people are using it. It's a very flexible tool, and it means that you can really customize it to work however you want it to work for you and for your students. I'm going to show the examples first and then talk about how to actually get started setting up your collections and so on, and a few tips, advanced tips as well. I think it's useful to see where you're going first before going into the how-to of getting started. All right. So let's get on to what is Wakelet and why use it. So this is actually a slide from Wakelet themselves, and I just thought it really succinctly described what it is. It's a free platform that allows you and your students to save, organise, present and share content from across the web. Now that sounds all very simple, but when you see it in action, you'll see there's a lot more to it than just that. This slide also from Wakelet, again, just gives you some information about the fact that it's completely free. It's not a tool where there's a free version and then there's a paid upgrade for extra features or anything like that. Everything is included in the free version, and there's no limits on how many collections, which is groups of links that you've created. You don't have a limit on that. No limit on collaborators and so on. And it's safe. So this is a really important thing when choosing tech tools, especially when you're going to get your students involved, is to know that it's safe for them to use. So Wakelet is a tool that allows you to collect, organise and share multimedia. And I've heard it described as kind of like a Pinterest for education, which I thought was quite useful. If you've used Pinterest before, you'll know what that looks like. And it is a little bit like Pinterest for education. Other people have described it as it's kind of like a really simple way of building what looks like a web page in essence, or a digital bulletin board. It's really easy to use. I don't really think you need much instruction at all, even though I will run through the basics. It's really straightforward to get used to. You can kind of just see things on the screen that you'll need, like click a plus button to add something, and then you just get started. The other benefit is that it works on all devices. So let's look at some examples of how you can use Wakelet and what it actually looks like. For teachers and students, there are options you can use it as an option for saving multimedia resources. You can curate content. You can actually use it to set assignments for your students, especially in the instance where you want to include lots of different types of multimedia. Like you might need to set them a PDF to read and then write some text about something. And then you might need them to watch a video and you might need them to listen to something. And you can actually put all of this into one place using Wakelet. Also useful to create an online CV or resume where you've got a collection of things that you've achieved or that your students have achieved over time. One of my favourite uses of Wakelet, when I'll show you an example of this, is using it for digital portfolios. It's a fantastic solution for that, a place where you can truly include all types of media. And it works really well as a collaboration tool. So let's go across I'm going to go across to my Chrome browser and actually show you some examples here. So I want to show you some different types of Wakelet collections and how they've been set up so that you can get some ideas for how you might use it in your own classroom. Now, you can use Wakelet personally as a teacher to collect and curate resources for something. I use it all the time for myself. So if, for instance, I'm wanting to research a topic like video game music, I'll show you my video game music collection in a moment. Every time I see a YouTube video or an article about video games, I put it into my Wakelet collection of that title, and it means that it's all in one spot together. So here's an example here of one that I created for a previous free webinar that I ran, and this was all about lesson ideas for Soundtrap and BandLab. If you've attended my webinars before, you've definitely seen Wakelet, because the way that I share links for things in my webinars is by sharing a Wakelet collection. So this is a Wakelet collection. You can see that there is an image up the top here, which is like the cover image. There is a title of the collection here. Then I've got different sections within this one. This is a vertical layout that I've chosen, and there's a title here which just says that this is information about the education versions of Soundtrap and BandLab, which was the subject of this one. Then there's a how-to section, and you can see options there. You can scroll down and see BandLab how-to. So I've got another section with links there. Now you can see the variety of links and information I have in this Wakelet collection. This is a link to the BandLab blog. So this is written things that you can click through to read. Underneath that, I've got a link to a YouTube video, and you can click play and watch the YouTube video. There's other ones down here. This is a link to a podcast episode that I created. And scrolling down, you can see there are preview images on everything, so it's nice and easy to work out what things are. And you can see I've got a little bit of text describing this. So that's what a Wakelet collection looks like. It's a page where there are a whole collection of multimedia links gathered. So here's my video game music collection. So this is me just saving information for when I run a workshop about video game music. I can pass this on to other teachers. And it's also for my own benefit, because sometimes I think, oh, I watched this great YouTube video. Where was that? I can go back through my own collection of bookmarks here and see what it is. So you can see I've again divided this into sections. I've got lesson ideas and tutorials. I've got some videos in there. I've got a link to a SoundCloud theme, which someone created using Beatbox, which I recommend for creating video game music. So that's in there too. You can press play and hear that. There's some more videos and so on. Here's another example of a collection of resources within a specific topic. This is one that I have, which is all about Star Wars links and resources. And I kind of started this around the May the 4th lesson idea. I just started seeing some great YouTube videos and other things, you know, that are useful for Star Wars May the 4th day. And so I decided to collect them on this Wakelet collection. Now, this one has a different layout. You have an option in Wakelet to lay things out in a vertical manner, or you can use this mood board style. So this one's kind of like a Tetris game where everything's locked into each other, a bit more like a patchwork quilt. So you can just see it's a whole collection, mostly YouTube videos, but there are a few articles in there too. And as you scroll down, you'll find that it will load more and more as you get further down the page. So this is quite a big collection, and it has lots of useful links in there. I'll make sure that I've added some of the things that I'm showing right now. I have already added to today's collection of webinar links. It's all very meta this today. I will make sure to add anything that I know is missing, which includes this one here, in case you'd just like to use this for your own classrooms. So that's collecting resources. That's probably the most sort of straightforward and basic way of using Wakelet. Then there are other things you can use Wakelet for. So I wanted to show you a few other examples, like the option of using Wakelet to collect for your own benefit, maybe testimonials that people have. When people have said nice things about you as a teacher, you might need to collect those for multiple reasons. If you are ever applying for say an award, or if you're applying to present at a conference, it can be really useful to have some sort of proof that you are a good teacher and some evidence of what you've done in the past. So this teacher has shared a collection of testimonials that people have, where people have said nice things about her. And they're mostly in the form of tweets. So in Wakelet, you can actually embed something from Twitter. So on Twitter, if someone has said something nice about her, she's been able to add this tweet to her Wakelet collection. And you can see that there's lots of different options here. So this is fantastic. If you were applying, for instance, to present at a conference and you needed to show that you are a teacher and that you've presented before, you could include this link to your Wakelet collection, and the conference presenter, the people who are organising it, can actually go through and see what other people have said about your style and your teaching. So that's that example. I thought this was a great one. I'm actually going to do this for myself. I haven't done that yet, but I thought that was a great idea. The other option here in a kind of a similar way is this teacher who has gathered together professional development certificates or digital badges that they have earned over time. And again, this is a great way just to track things for your own benefit, but again, something that you can share with perhaps your administration at your school if you need to apply for, if you're applying for some kind of promotion or if you just need to show what you've achieved. This is a collection here of all the digital badges that have been earned and different certificates of attendance at different events and so on. Again, a great idea and something I'm going to look at doing for myself too. Okay, so that's for your own benefit as a teacher, tracking your PD and testimonials. Let's have a look at a different type of collection here. This one keeps popping up. I'm going to do that last and I'm going to move it along because we keep seeing animal out of the corner of my eye and it's very distracting. Okay, so this one here is a collection from a showcase. It's taking a second to load here. When I've run courses in the past, and it actually started with this Canva course that I was running. The Canva course that I ran involved teachers over 5 modules creating resources using Canva. And as all of the attendees of the course were creating these resources, we were sharing them with each other and showing what great work had been done. And everybody started saying, oh, I love that Composer of the Month worksheet that you've put together for your course, for the course. Could I also borrow it for my students? And so it turned into a huge sharing exercise. And it was fantastic because not only were people creating their own materials during the Canva course, we were also able to share with each other. So all the course members ended up with a whole collection of worksheets and other things. We did posters and digital badges and so on. So I wanted to work out a way that we could all share these and keep them all organised in one place. And I thought, well, look, Wakelet makes a lot of sense to me. So what this Wakelet collection is a collection of Canva, templates or Canva things that have been set up, Canva designs, and the links that you can click through to here create a copy of that person's Canva design. So it's kind of like a force copy link that you would use in Google Docs or Google Slides. All of these are force copy links for Canva designs, so that if you wanted to use one of these designs, you just click through, you add the design to your own Canva account, and then you can get working. But it turned out that Wakelet was a great way to kind of keep track and organize all of these designs together. So these are the ones just for Module 2, and you can see there's some fantastic things that people have created here, and it truly became this amazing collection of resources that everybody could take advantage of. So I know a few of you are on today who were actually part of this course. I can see your names on these designs here, but it was just such a great way to do it. And we ended up working out a way that when you upload a Canva design to Wakelet, it gives you just a very generic picture. But I worked out that if we edited the little preview picture that was showing, you could actually upload something that looked like what the design was so that everybody could see it just on this Wakelet collection at a glance, and it worked out really well. So that was that one. Ended up doing a similar thing for the video creation course that I ran in January. And again, we really wanted to have a way to share videos that people were creating. Module 2 of that course involves creating play-along videos. And of course, play-along videos are just like useful for everybody. So I collected a few here. I would need to add some more to this, but this one's an example of a Wakelet collection, which is a vertical layout, but it's kind of like 2 columns, so it's side by side. I just chose that for something different for this one, but you can see there's a few different play-along videos here that people from that course created. And once again, you can just click through and view the actual video there. Now, where I think Wakelet gets really interesting is when you start using it with students. And there's a number of ways you can use it with students. You can use it to provide materials that students will need during a lesson, and that might just be a collection of things they need to watch or to listen to. But I'll show you a couple of other examples which I've borrowed from the lovely Kath McGreal, who is one of my community members. She's kindly given me links to a couple of her Wakelet collections, saved me setting up fake examples to show you. But I'll show you this one first. This one first is one of my ones that I've set up. I created a lesson plan, which was the idea was to compare the original version of a song with a cover version of a song. It's a listening lesson for students. And actually, if you're interested in that, there's a link that you can download the lesson plan, and there's a worksheet that you can use with students. But in order to make that lesson work, you really need to find suitable songs where there's an original and a cover version, and that are hopefully, clean lyrics and so on, that you can use with your students. So I decided to give this Wakelet collection a go and use the layout, which is that side-by-side layout. If you're very careful about the way you organise your information on the Wakelet collection, you can actually make it show the two songs side by side. So I tried to consistently put on the left side the original version of a song, and then on the right side, right next to it, is the cover version. So students can easily listen to one and then the other and compare the two for this worksheet that I made. So you can see I've got a few here. I mean, there are thousands of examples of cover songs like this that you could possibly add to this. I've tried to find all of the ones that have, clean lyrics and so on, or at least mostly clean lyrics. And yeah, it worked really well for this particular instance. I think this side-by-side comparison, I think you could use this idea for this layout in other ways for music as well. Perhaps you might have a video, and then on the right-hand side, instead of having another video, the students could actually add text, which where they make notes or comments on the thing that they've just watched on the left-hand side. So that's just a different layout there. Now, here's one of Kath's. She's used Wakelet quite a bit. I suggested it for a solution. I think initially we were looking at what could she use for digital portfolios. I think that was the initial one. She can correct me if I'm wrong there, but she's ended up using it in lots of other ways beyond digital portfolios with her students. But Kath actually uses it to set assignments or to provide materials to students for them to use. So here's one example. This is a Year 9 study guide, and this collection has a series of information and links that the students will need in order to complete their Year 9 music lessons. So you can see here there's some information here. There's just some text on the page. There's a link to some videos that the students need to watch. It's only a short one, but it just succinctly wraps up the information that those students need. This one here is another example, kind of similar, where Kath has set some work for Year 7s to do, and this is all about creating variations on Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So they use Sibelius, so there's some instructions about how to do a couple of things in Sibelius up the top here. Then there's instructions on, we need you to create an accompaniment, and here's a link to, a document that you need. And then there's a little tip of the day. So again, it's simple, but it just keeps everything in that one place together. This setting assignments area, you can use Wakelet. Sorry, animal keeps popping up. I promise we'll get to that one in a minute. This is the one that I really love the most out of Cass, I think. This one is her setting a research project for Year 7 students, and this is all about Meet the Orchestra. So what she has is an initial Wakelet collection where the instructions are. So she's got some instructions here. There is actually a video where the students can press play and hear her explain the assignment to them. And then underneath that, she's set up some templates for them to use. So the idea here is that students are going to do some research about one of the families of the orchestra. And then they're going to gather that research together and actually have another Wakelet collection where they put all that information. So she's using Wakelet in two ways. She's got the assignment being set itself here in one Wakelet collection, and then another Wakelet collection is going to be used for each of the families of the orchestra, and the students will populate that with their research. Now, the great thing about this is, and this is what I really loved about this assignment, if I scroll down here, you'll see that there are templates that she set up for them, which are Wakelet collections, which the students are going to populate with their research. So this is a collaborative assignment here. So groups of, I think it's about 6 students altogether, are doing each family of the orchestra. So if you click through to the strings one, I've actually got it open here on another tab. This is what the Year 7s are going to use to put together their research. So they will hit edit on this one. They're going to then fill in the names of the people doing the work in their group. Then they're going to read the activity instructions underneath that, and then they can actually put all of their research information back into the Wakelet. There are explicit directions about what they need to do, and they're going to add links or videos or whatever's appropriate for the activity in there. So I just love this. It's a really great way of gathering all of that together. Now, of course, Wakelet's not the only thing that you could do that exercise with. You know, depending on which classroom management system you use or whether you use Google Docs or Slides, of course, students could also present their information there. But sometimes I think Wakelet just kind of makes it a bit easier, and it lays it out really well, and it's quite it's just quite flexible with the layout options that you have and so on. And there's my dog in the background. I feel like we have a delivery arriving, and I may... Good, a child's coming to sort it out. It's all fine. All right, so I'll get out of that one. Now, I'm going to get back to this drum kit example. This is Animal going crazy in the GIF here. Hopefully that plays for you at your end. He's one of my favourite Muppet characters. So this is one that I set up, and I wanted to set up this Wakelet collection as a way of showing all of the different types of media that you can add to any Wakelet collection, but also as a way to show you that you can use it as a digital portfolio or an assignment, what do you call it, as an assignment submission. So I chose the drum kit just as my topic, and this is showing you that a student could perhaps be putting together for a unit of work over a period of time. They put together all of this information into a Wakelet. So animal GIF is just there for decoration, to be honest, but up the top here I've just got the image that represents this collection. I've added a title with a couple of emoji in there just because it kind of makes it noticeable and it looks cool. Underneath that, I've got some information about the parts of the kit. So in Wakelet, and I'll show you this in a moment, you can basically add a little text section. And in that text section, you can have things like a heading, some regular writing, you can have bullet points, you can have numbered list if you want to, and you can even add links in there as well. Underneath that, I've got an image to represent the parts of the drum kit, and I've labelled that. So that was another piece of media that I uploaded to my Wakelet collection as proof that I knew the parts of the drum kit. Underneath that, I've got a few drum kit facts, tools of the trade. I've got just pictures of different things that you can use to play drums with. I've got any part about the basic rock beat. And here I've got information about how you play the basic rock beat, followed by a video that's in my Google Drive, which shows me doing body percussion. Oh, let's click through and see if that's going to work. So when you click through to that link from the Wakelet collection, hopefully it might show me doing a body percussion pattern. There we go. Fascinating video, this one. Oh, no. Oh, no, it's not going to play. Okay, I'll leave that. It was working the other day. I shouldn't have done that. That was living on the edge. There you go. Anyway, this is what it will look like here. It's just a link to a file in my Google Drive. I've got another GIF just again for decoration. Then underneath that, I've got evidence that I know how to notate the basic rock beat. So in Wakelet, of course, you can add things like images. So I created this notation in Sibelius, took a screenshot, and then uploaded that to my Wakelet collection, again, as evidence that I knew how to notate. Underneath that, I've got alternative notation. So here's another image which displays drum notation in a grid format. And I did that because that's very similar to a number of software programs. So for instance, if I scroll down a little bit further, you'll see something similar, which is from BandLab. I created a rock pattern in BandLab and took a screenshot of that. So this is the little drum sequencing tool in BandLab. Then because it's a music subject here, I want to obviously include sound files when possible. And again, in Wakelet, I can add my BandLab basic rock beat recording. I've actually included that in a few different formats here because I wanted just to show you that you could put it in Google Drive and link to the file. That's one way of including it in your Wakelet collection. But alternatively, if you are able to upload audio files to SoundCloud, you can actually add a link to a SoundCloud file and it will play back there in Wakelet. Oh, should I live on the edge and see if it will play for us? Oh, there we go. So I really like that option because it shows on the page and you can actually play it on the page itself. Again, some more examples here of things you can include. And hopefully you're thinking inside your head of the types of units of work that you do with your students where you could reapply, things that you get your students to do. So Groove Pizza is an online drum pattern maker, and I created a drum pattern in Groove Pizza, and I've got a couple of different ways that I've linked to that here. This link actually goes to the Groove Pizza website. Oh, let's see if that's going to go there for us. Dun, dun, dun. Loading. Oh, phew. So it's straight to Groove Pizza where I made it, and I can press play and see it play back there. Back to my Wakelet collection. Underneath that, I've got another version of my drum pattern from Groove Pizza where I actually screen recorded my drum pattern using the Loom screencasting program. And again, if I click on that, it's going to take me to Loom, where I can then play back my screen recording of the drum pattern I made once it loads. Tell you what, since we're back on remote learning here in Melbourne, the internet's just a little bit slower than normal. So there's another version of a drum pattern from Groove Pizza. And, which one should you use? It doesn't really matter. You can use either. It just gives you some options, knowing that you can link to Groove Pizza itself or create a screencasting and include that. Then underneath that, last couple of things to show you. If you include a link from a Spotify to a song from Spotify, it ends up looking like this, which is kind of cool, right? You can play the song directly there. And I've got just like 3 examples of different drum riffs, which I thought were cool. And then lastly, down the bottom, and again, an image here. I've got some rhythm practice where I can add some rhythms here if I want to. I've got, again, a screenshot of a rhythm that I made. And again, a link to an audio file of me performing that rhythm. So these are the types of things that as a music teacher you could add for your students, or that your students can add if they're creating their own Wakelet collections. All right, after all that, let's go back. I'm going to go back to my slides here and just talk through how do you actually do this? How do you actually get started and create a Wakelet collection, and how do you add all of those things? And as I mentioned earlier, it's really pretty straightforward. You probably work it out. So in this section of the webinar, I just want to talk briefly about student accounts, actually how you can create student accounts, also how you get started creating Wakelet collections, how you can share and collaborate with those collections, and just a few advanced tips at the end. So let's just talk about student accounts before I get stuck into making the Wakelet collections themselves. Students 13 and above are able to set up their own Wakelet account just the same way that you as a teacher do. So they can go to the Wakelet website and set up a free account and make their own Wakelet collections. In the past, that was the only option, but luckily Wakelet's added an option now for students of all ages to get access to their own Wakelet accounts. So if they are under 13, but also you might choose to do this with older students too, you can actually import student accounts from Google Classroom, from Microsoft, or from Clever. And doing it that way means that you as a teacher are able to see all of their Wakelet collections that the student creates. And what was the other thing? It's a safe kind of private environment. Now, if you're working with students who are over 13, you can still use that method if you want to. It gives you easy access to the student collections. But one of the main things to know with that method is that you cannot share those Wakelet collections beyond your own classroom. So if you have older students and you want them to be able to create, say, a digital portfolio that they might end up using to show to prospective employers down the track, or just to show the types of things that they've worked on at school or what they're really good at, those collections cannot be shared publicly. So if you're working with older students, you'll just need to make that decision whether it's regular Wakelet accounts or whether it's going to be the private ones with your teacher account. All right. So how do you create a collection? Now, I've actually got this in screenshots in here because it means that when I give you a copy of my slides, you'll get a copy of all these instructions, and it just keeps it kind of clean and easy to navigate for me as well. So when you are in Wakelet and you log in, you'll see this button, Create a New Collection. So you'll get started by clicking on that. If you have other collections already created, you'll see them. So all of these ones here on the page, these other ones are ones that I have either made myself or saved copies of from somewhere else. The next thing you'll do after that is to choose a layout. It doesn't matter if you choose the wrong thing straight up because you can change it later on. So pick what you think you're going to need, but just know that you can alter it later on if you want. So there's 4 options. The media view is the one that I use the most frequently. That's that vertical view. The compact view is the same as the media view, but it's a little more compact. So the content doesn't show as large on the screen. It's a little bit more squished up. The grid view is that side-by-side option. And the mood board is that patchwork style option where it's all tight, is sort of free. So the reason I choose the media view a lot of the time or the compact view is because I can organize things into sections or into categories. The mood board does not give you that option, but it looks nice. So if you don't need things in categories, totally go for the mood board view. So after you've chosen your layout, then you have the option of adding a cover image, and this is the image that will represent your collection. So up the top there, you can see you click on the add a cover image option and you choose an image that you have on your computer somewhere. You can choose a GIF if you want to, so it's going to move and have pictures, and you can choose something funny from the Giphy library if you want to, or you can choose from library, and that's actually choosing a public domain or copyright-free image from Wakelet's own collection. They have a link with Unsplash, and so there's some fantastic, beautiful images that you can choose in there to represent your Wakelet collection. So on the bottom of this page, you'll see my picture of a drum kit. So for instance, I've just chosen that one from the Wakelet library. While you're in this section, you'll just add a title for your collection and everything can be changed later on. After you've done those basic things, then you just get started adding content. And it's really easy because all you'll do is click on the green plus button that you'll see on your collection, and then you add whatever content it is that you want. So if you were adding a YouTube video and you have the link already, you can just paste the link into the box where it says paste any web address and press enter or hit that green plus button on the right there. And that's how to add your YouTube video in. If you're adding a link to a website, you would do it the same way. If you were adding a link to, I don't know, anything you like, a Google form even, or a Google Doc, you can do the same thing there. On the right of that paste any web address box, there are some buttons and you can choose those instead of pasting a link. So the option just to the right with a little pencil icon is the option to add some text onto the page. So students can just write straight onto the page like a document. To the right of that is an option to add images. To the right of that is the bookmark option, and that's actually a within Wakelet bookmark option. I'll try and remember to talk more about that after. Or if you need to upload a PDF, there's also an option there. And that final button on the right, which looks like a grid, is kind of like a more menu where there are options to add something directly from Twitter, Flipgrid, which is an awesome thing, YouTube, Google Drive or OneDrive. Now the Flipgrid option in there, if you've used Flipgrid before, do get excited because it means that you can actually record a Flipgrid video without leaving Wakelet. So you'll click on that. Basically, you'll need to log in like the first time if you haven't already logged in, but you'll log into Flipgrid or give Wakelet permission to use your Flipgrid account. And then you can record a video directly into your Wakelet collection. So this is fantastic for you as a teacher or for your students to use, because you might set the students an option of a question which says, hit the record button and record the drum pattern that you've just learnt in class as body percussion. So they can go in there and click on that video button and add their own Flipgrid video performance of themselves. You as a teacher can use that to explain what the assignment is or to tell students more information about whatever it is in that Wakelet collection. So it's just such a handy thing having it in there. Really, really useful. Now, if you are wanting to, if you've added some content already and you need to edit it, you can click on that section while you're in edit view, click on that section that you want to edit. And then there's a pencil icon. You can click on that to edit the section itself. So change the text or upload a different image or whatever it is there. You can also hit the trash can icon and get rid of that item if you want to altogether. You can use the little arrows that you can see on the screen there to change the order of content on your page. So I'm forever reordering my content on Wakelet pages just to make it make more sense. And there's a little option on the right there to change the layout mode of the collection. So if you do decide you want to switch to the mood board style, you can click on that and just change it there. Once you've finished editing your Wakelet collection, you'll hit the Done button, and that kind of locks in all your changes that you've made. Now, if you have clicked Done, you're out of that edit mode in your Wakelet collection, but you want to get back in to edit it, you'll see that there's an Edit button up the top. So you can edit that and then add more content if you want to. This is the frozen picture of Animal in the middle of drumming. It looks hilarious. Now, the other button there that I've pointed out there with the big red arrow is the Invite button. And this is where you can invite other people to collaborate inside your Wakelet collection. Doing this is not just sharing it for them to view. Doing this option is inviting them to take part in your Wakelet collection so that they can actually add content to that collection. So this is a little bit different from sharing, but that's how you can get students involved. And there's a number of ways you can get them to join the collection, which I think I'm going to show you in a second if I remember. Oh yeah, here we go. Share or collaborate. So if you just want people to view the collection, like you want to share this. So let's say the students have done something amazing and you want to share it with the wider community. You can click on the share button, which looks like a curved arrow, you know, that share icon. And there are multiple ways you can share a Wakelet collection with other people. So you can copy a link and give it to them. That's actually what I've done today. If you are on the watching page for the webinar today, and there's a little link at the top which says, here are the links for today's session. It's a link like that to a Wakelet collection. But there are other options. You can share directly to Twitter and Facebook and Reddit and so on. There's options to share to Google Classroom, to Microsoft Teams, and there's a QR code option too. So if you click on the QR code option, you'll get a QR code to download and then display somewhere so that people can scan it and view a Wakelet collection. There's also export as PDF and embed options down the bottom too. Embedding is if you have access to, I don't know, some of the school learning management systems allow you to embed a collection, which means that you'll actually see the Wakelet collection inside the page of your learning management system. So I think probably examples where that would work would be Canvas and Schoology. I think both of those options would work there. The export as PDF option is, I've put surprisingly awesome. I'm going to just show you what this looks like. I've got one open. Here's I think I have one open. My drum kit option from before. Here we go. So this is when I've hit export on the drum kit portfolio that I made. You can see here, okay, the GIF doesn't look great because it takes like a snapshot of the GIF. But if I scroll down a little bit, you can see that it's captured all of my text that I put on the page. It's got all the images in there. It's got my drum kit facts, my tools of the trade, basic rock beat. Now, when you see that there in the original Wakelet collection, there was a link to something, in the PDF that you can download, it is still a clickable link. So I can click on that and it will take me to the video of myself doing the body percussion. Scrolling down a bit further, you can see again, there's notating the rock beat and it's captured my images. So this is a great way of, you know, if students have made something like that as a portfolio, they can download as a PDF in order to take it away from just being in Wakelet. Okay, so that's sharing. If you just want people to view your collection, if you would like people to contribute to the collection, or if you want students to collaborate together on a collection, this is the other option, which is called invite. So you would invite people to join a collection and collaborate. So there are, again, a few different options of how you get them to join the collection. There's a special invite code link. So this is different to the one that you would send people just to view a collection. This is one where you're actually inviting them to the collection. So you can send them that link, they'll click through, and it will allow them to add content to the collection. Or you can give them the code here, the QR code. You can also invite by username if you know their Wakelet username, or email. Now you have control over who's contributing to a Wakelet collection that you've set up. You can kick people out if you need to, but there are options to allow them to add content to the collection but not get rid of content in the collection, if you know what I mean. So you can kind of lock it down in different ways there. All right, going to finish off with a few advanced tips or kind of things that I found out along the way, and I thought, oh, that's so useful. I wish I'd known that earlier. Creating sections. This was something that was a little bit mysterious until I worked out that creating sections is not that fancy at all in Wakelet. You don't actually click a button which says create new section, which is I think what I looked for when I first wanted to do it. You're actually just adding a text box and making the text big in that box to create the impression of it being a section header. So in Wakelet up the very top here on the right, you click the little green plus button to see this option, and you're going to choose this add text option here. Underneath, I've shown you what it looks like when you click on that. You'll get a little box where you can type text. So what you want to do is type the heading. I've got an example here of this is my heading for Wakelet resources. And type that in. You can click on the H1 button to make it a heading, a big heading. I also usually make it bold as well. And then I just added like a subtitle underneath, and I centered that by using the little centering button here. Then underneath that, I've got a picture of what it looks like in the Wakelet collection itself. So this is just that little text box. And then underneath that, I've got the links which are part of that section. So sections is very simple and straightforward to do, nothing too fancy. Adding emojis, another tip. So adding emojis into section titles can make them more noticeable, more interesting to look at, I guess. And you can do that by bringing up an emoji character keyboard on your laptop. So if you're on a Mac, you can press the shortcut Control, Command, Spacebar, and up will pop an emoji keyboard where you can choose lots of different emojis. I use that on my Mac a lot. It's really easy to search for the emoji that you want because I'm forever scrolling. You know, on Facebook Messenger, you scroll through like pages and pages of you're looking for this one emoji that you know is there somewhere, and you're scrolling through pages and pages. In the Mac laptop version, you can just type in what it is you're looking for. So like the word drum, and up will pop the drum picture. So much easier. On Windows, I haven't used it on Windows, but I was reliably told by a couple of teenagers yesterday that the window button and the period button, full stop button, if you press those, it will bring up a character emoji keyboard as well. So useful to know. And you can use those in any places. Not just Wakelet, you can use them anywhere. So that one's a great one to do. Another tip that I found is really useful is the option to change the thumbnail image. So once you paste a link to something in Wakelet, it will pull in an image from that thing if there is one to pull in, and it does this automatically. So if you paste a link to a web page, let's say a blog post, it will pull in the blog post image if Wakelet can find one. Now, there are some things that you will add to a Wakelet collection where there just isn't an image to pull in. So it ends up looking like this example on the top right here. So when I pasted in an audio recording that I had saved in Google Docs, it comes up like this, and it's just got like an empty space where the image would be. Now, to be honest, you can leave it like that. It's not a big deal. But if you would like to change that and actually make it look more visually pleasing, and I do like it because your eye is drawn to things more easily when there's an image there to represent it. So if for instance, you had linked to a number of Google Docs all underneath each other or items in your Google Drive, they're all going to look like this, and you really need to read the titles to work out what's what. Alternatively, you can actually upload an image to represent that thing. So if you click on the edit button for your whole Wakelet collection, go to edit that piece of content, there will end up being an edit image option there for you. And when you click on that, you've got all of these choices here. You can upload your own image. Again, you can choose a GIF, choose something from the Wakelet library. And if an image is showing, you can reposition it. You can move it left or right or up and down to just get the best part of that image. So I can highly recommend doing that. I think it looks a lot better if you've got the time. Now, second last link tip out of 5 advanced tips here. Linking to other Wakelet collections is as simple as in one Wakelet collection that you're putting together, you can add links to other Wakelet collections that you've already created. And this can be a great way to create a directory of Wakelet collections, or simply to add more information about something into an overarching Wakelet collection. So for instance, in the collection of links for today's session, I have a section called Wakelet Resources. And in that section, I have linked to other Wakelet collections, which have been created by Wakelet, which contain a whole series of resources or links in themselves. So you just grab the URL from the collection you want to link to. In your own Wakelet collection, you add a piece of content and paste the URL in like normal, and it pops up looking all beautiful like this one here on the right-hand side. That's also how Kath did her one, the Year 7 Instruments of the Orchestra unit. She set up the main one as the instructions for the student, and she linked to the templates that she had set up in other Wakelet collections. And final tip, I'm mentioning this one because I'm not kidding. I had used Wakelet for quite a long time before I even knew that there was like a pretty profile page for myself, like that I had a pretty profile page. I had no idea. Amy's laughing in the background. I can see this. Yeah, I had no idea this was here. And I saw someone else's and I'm like, where is that view? No idea. And the thing is, when you log into Wakelet, you don't see this view at all unless you physically click on the link to go to this page. So the benefit of this page is that it shows any Wakelet collections that you have made public. And you can really use this to your advantage because you can make sections of Wakelet collections, and it's a fantastic way to showcase what you do as an educator. Or I'm using mine in a different way. I've got like collections of Canva designs that were made in my Canva course, and video course, designs and so on. I may switch mine around a little bit. I'm actually considering starting another Wakelet account just to showcase, some more of my professional things. So showcase my website and achievements that I've done, and maybe courses that I've taken part in and so on, and make it more like a professional, CV type thing. But in this page, you can actually you can make your own collections, sections, and reorder them and make it look nice. You can add a header image, you can add links to your social media accounts and so on. So some people use this as, I've seen students use this when they're older students, sort of year 11 and 12, using this as a digital portfolio and collecting together things that they have done throughout their school life with the view to using it for employees and so on. So that's that one. All right. Just before I go off that, I do want to just show you where that link is so that you know where to find it. So I'll go to my main Wakelet page here. When I log in, this is the view that I see. This is my, page where I can hit create new collection. If I want to view my personal profile page, I will actually click on my own username across on the left here. And this is where I can see my profile page. And you can see here I've got different sections. So these sections here, which I've created myself, I can click through. If I click on this one, it will jump down to that section. This is previous webinar links and so on. The Canva course collections that I created, the video course collections, conference presentations and workshops and so on. And then sometimes I've just got other collections which don't fall into any specific category, but there's lots of options there. So making this page look beautiful can be a really useful thing, easy to do. The way that you set up those sections is to hit edit profile, and then you've got the option of adding a new section here, and then you just need to say which collections go into that section, reorder them and so on. I need to come back in here. You need to kind of do this regularly if you use Wakelet a lot. Some of my webinar, I don't know, it might be up to date now. I feel like there's a couple more webinar links that need to be added in there, but it's just great. Really, again, really easy to use, and it works kind of like a web page in a way. All right. That's it for my Wakelet tips for today. I hope that was useful. And if you're interested, I've mentioned a couple of the courses along the way today. So uh, they're very much top of mind for Amy and I because we've just sort of finished doing a number of these kind of as a group live type course. These are all courses that are available ongoing and a whole collection of other courses as well. But the video creation course is that one. The Canva course is this one, Create Beautiful Teaching Resources with Canva. And Amy's just finishing up with the Seesaw course, which has just started and it's been fantastic. Everyone's been doing some great work in that one, making Seesaw activities and so on. So if you would like to do any of those courses and maybe join us inside the Midnight Music community where they're all available, you are more than welcome to. We've got a few members on today, I know. But you can do that. The community has all of those courses together, plus a number of other courses available in there. It's a subscription and you get access to everything all at once. No deadlines on completing course materials. No stress. You can do them at any time. It's asynchronous learning. So there are videos that you can watch, mostly me, except Amy's ones for the Seesaw course. And you can take your time with them. We also have a private community forum in there where Amy and I are every single day of the week. For some reason, neither of us take the weekends off. We still go in there and answer questions. I don't know. I think both of us are the same. We feel like, just check, just in case, Yeah. And so we go in there and we answer questions and we have a great community of teachers there. Other teachers also jump in and help each other, which is lovely to see because it's great to hear of everyone's experiences with different scenarios. So do come and join us in there. So if you're not a member already, I have a special offer just for webinar people. We don't usually do this offer, but we have a $1 14-day trial offer. And then after that, it reverts to our regular monthly option. But you can check it out for 14 days. Stick around hopefully at the end, and we'd love to have you in there. All right, I'm going to switch over to us on the screen again, and we can answer some questions. And let me just get out of this for a second. Dun, dun, dun. There's me. And Amy's going to come on. Yay. And look, I've got a Wakelet t-shirt on. Did everyone notice? Maybe not.
I loved it.
Good. All right, I'm going to bring up the chat page so I can see any questions as well. So
let me bring up some questions for you.
Yes. The PDF live is super cool. Yes, it's totally cool, isn't it? That PDF option.
So here are some questions for you that came throughout. First of all, you need to add the Star Wars Wakelet. So
I knew that.
From the beginning,
I'm like, I haven't got that.
I was adding your Wakelets and then just found your profile Wakelet page and added that many times. So by the time you got to it, they had already been there.
As soon as I looked at it in the web and I was like, I haven't added that one, and that's going to be a popular one.
So we would love your Star Wars one.
I'm going to open up the Wakelet collection while we're talking so I can remember to do that.
All right, so you open that up and I'm going to come in from a question from Dale, and I think I answered it, but I did want to hear your opinion on these questions I think I answered. So Dale was wondering if the links to YouTube are modified to keep commercials away. So according to the info I'm finding, here is what it reads about Wakelet. One of the major benefits of creating a video playlist within Wakelet is that it will eliminate all the advertisements associated with that video. The learners won't need to leave Wakelet to view any videos. They'll all be embedded into the collection. It's simple to use too.
Yeah, did that come from the Wakelet website itself?
Yeah. I was running, trying to find that quote.
You are a wonder. I have not tested that, so that's good to know. There you go. Yes, I think so. I will actually mention I did try to do something which, if it worked every time, would be super, super cool. And that is that instead of sharing a link to a YouTube video, a regular sharing link, some of you might know that when you hit the share button on a YouTube video, there's an option to grab the embed code. Now, if you grab that code and go back to Wakelet and just paste that into the URL box, it will show the YouTube video on your Wakelet collection page. And when you press play, it stays on the Wakelet page. Now, normally, if you add a regular sharing link to a YouTube video, it actually opens up the YouTube video it pops it out on a separate page. You kind of go out and then you go back to your Wakelet collection when you're done watching it. And I've not minded that, but I've never loved that aspect of Wakelet. It sort of takes you away from the Wakelet collection, whereas if you use the embed code, it's right there on the page. You just hit play, like I did for that SoundCloud link. It's just there. However, in trying the embed option, and you can use the embed option in lots of ways, like for YouTube videos, I tried it with a Loom video and a few other things, but to be honest, it was a little bit buggy in Wakelet. So I had trouble with it then saving my changes, and it I had to like refresh the whole page and it didn't really work. So that was why I didn't highlight that today as a thing. I have a feeling though that will come over time and be fixed up over time. So that's a good option to check as well. Whether it gets rid of the adverts, I don't know though.
Debbie is saying no ads is an all-time favorite in Wakelet. I mean, I did get that quote right off of Wakelet's. It's off of Wakelet's blog. It was 2 years old, that quote though, but I can't imagine it would have been.
And they're saying playlist though, or just single YouTube video, or is it just playlist? I wonder.
I don't know. It's curious. This is a cool one from Anne. I like this one. I'm a member of Music Play Online. Yay, Denise.
Yay.
Am I able to share songs or lessons from Music Play Online to my Wakelet? I kind of know the answer to that one, but go ahead.
Yeah. And anything, you can share a link to anything in your Wakelet collection. It's whether the person viewing it can actually click through and see it. So they would need to then, I think, probably log in if it requires a login at the other end for whatever website, but I'm pretty sure with Denise's it does. So yeah, so they would click through and then it will ask them, they'll just go to the web page like you would send it to them normally. Does that make sense?
So with Denise here's what, and if Denise is on, please correct us. So Denise had set Music Play Online from March 2020 to be free. And that now she has classified as her classic website because they've launched the beta, and that is a subscription base. But what the beta did was it made so many individual links where we used to have to tell the students, you need to log in, then find this, then find this, then find this.
Yeah, right.
She heard, she heard us saying we need direct links. So she has made direct links now in her beta version. So you can take those direct links and put them in Wakelet, but they will have to log in.
They'll have to log in. I think, though, once they've logged in once, so if you've opened your browser, they could even do this ahead of time. If they've opened their browser, gone to Music Play Online and logged in, and this is applicable to any website, then when they're viewing the Wakelet, if it's the same day, they'll just click through and they won't have to re-log in. They're already logged in the whole browser. So that's what I've found has been useful. Yeah. So that'd be totally fine. That would be a great use of it, actually, to gather together for a lesson. I want them to do this activity and this game and this video. And
it's like her modules, but it's more of a module that you feel can work in
and
your
you might
class.
have other stuff which is not also to go with. Not stuff.
So this comes from Amy. Like you can embed those tweets in. Can you embed Facebook posts? I did not think you could, but maybe you could.
I don't think Facebook works in the same way because it's a bit more locked down by profile. On Facebook, you need to be friends with the person to see a post, whereas on Twitter is you're broadcasting to everybody unless you lock down your Twitter profile, which is almost like, why bother having a Twitter profile? But you have, it's a public sort of thing. A bit like Instagram, but I don't know if you can do Instagram. But just Twitter. Twitter's useful. So the only problem is if you don't use Twitter at all, then there's no use for you to use it. I do find Twitter's also useful though. For instance, if you were working with older students and they're doing research on a topic, they actually had an example of this somewhere on the Wakelet website. Like if you were researching, I don't know, marine life or something, you could click on that Twitter link and you can actually search what's on Twitter from Wakelet. So you can actually search for whale watching, find someone's tweet where they've there's whale watching in Australia right now, and then embed that tweet on the Wakelet collection and it will show like the video that someone shared on Twitter. So that can be useful from a gathering research point of view.
Kath has said she tested the YouTube ad thing and there are no ads. So thank you, Kath. And then
I've upgraded to YouTube Premium, so it's harder for me I don't always remember to test that because I've forgotten. It's gone from my memory that there are ads on YouTube. It's so good.
Yeah, and Jason Dallas said she saved, or this person said they saved multiple play-alongs this past spring and never had any ads. These are great
Fantastic.
testimonies. That's wonderful.
That's
Let's go
so
to
good to know. Yeah, because I've got quite a number of collections which are just YouTube videos, really, mostly just YouTube. Like Clever. I think I've got one for my Clever music videos collection. Just fun. I started it anyway. Yeah. So
So
that's great to know.
Anne had a question earlier, which you have answered, but go ahead and answer this again for others who might have missed it. Once I have a Wakelet established, do my students need to be invited to mine, or do I share something with them using Google Classroom?
Oh, so it depends. If you want them to contribute to the collection and add stuff to it, then I think you do need to send them the invite code or the QR code. But if you just want them to view it, there's a little link inside the Wakelet collection itself you can just send it to Google Classroom that way. Yeah. Is that correct? Did I do that right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I love that you showed actually how many places it did share out to. That was really, really
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah. So once you click that Google Classroom link, so you'll go share. I could just share my screen again here. I'm just going to see if it's working for me. I might need to log into Classroom. Yeah, you get to choose your class. So it's like any tool. You can just hit the Google Classroom button and then it says, which class do you want to share this Wakelet collection to? And doing it that way is just asking them to view a collection. Yeah.
That's great. All right, another one. This is from Therese. Would you need to make different Wakelets for students to access, or can they get access to just one of your pages?
Yeah, just one of your the Wakelet, one Wakelet collection. Is that what we're asking? Yeah, a single Wakelet collection
I
has
answered it the
only.
same way. I was like, well, here's an example. You could make a Wakelet and give it to the students like that.
Yeah,
Or like, here's Katie's, all of her Wakelets that
all
she's made
everything.
public. And
Yes.
then you can, yeah. So you have all these different options. And of course, you can make Wakelets private so no one sees them on your
Yeah.
public page. So
Yeah. And the great thing
really
I
nice.
love about Wakelet is that when you start a collection, it's private already. It's totally private. Only you can see it. And then when you hit the share button, it goes, hang on, this is private. Do you actually want to make it public? So you can do that. And you can have it, I think there's unlisted as well. Like you can change the privacy to unlisted so that like you can share it with students, but it's not available to the whole general public, if you know what I mean. So I know Kath did that. She actually kindly made those 3 collections I showed of hers. She kindly made them public. Normally she has them unlisted, so her students can access them, but they're not like general on her public page. So that's a really useful, it's like YouTube videos where it's unlisted video versus public video versus private, totally private.
On that topic, Debbie asked, can you share to view and then they make a copy to edit? I'm just hoping to prevent my mischievous students from altering the content.
Yeah. I think, yes, you can. Yeah. So what I've seen, and I didn't show an example of this, but what I've seen actually from Wakelet themselves is that how did they share it? Basically, they had massive instructions at the top of the Wakelet, like they added a text box which said, please make a copy of this. Oh, I know, in their templates. Let me show you an example. I'll just bring up an example and I'll share my screen. Have I left it on here? They had a couple of templates that I saved just to see. Da, da, da. It's not on that one. I've got Star Wars links showing here. It's not that time of year.
Star Wars links.
Any time of year.
Yeah, always.
No, I haven't got an example there. I'm telling fibs. Totally. Anyway, yes, you can add a big thing at the top. But I think also you can make it so that when you share a link to your Wakelet collection, it's not editable unless you allow it to be, if you know what I mean. So when you're sharing a link, it's like sharing in Google Docs when you share a link to view only, view the document. And then you know how like people need to know to go file, make a copy. And if they don't do that, you'll get all those messages, emails requesting.
Oh, they're wonderful. Yeah.
You don't get that in Wakelet, thank goodness. But yeah, it'll just be like a view only copy, and then they can click on the little there's a 3-dot menu, and then they'll choose make a copy or duplicate, whatever the option is in there. Yes, but I don't think they can accidentally mess with it in that instance anyway, so it should be fine.
Jonathan over in YouTube wants to know how to have his grade 6 students upload their performances of their instrumental playing whilst they're at home. Can you go back and let me know how students can upload their videos? Thanks.
Yes, great. Well, so there's a few options. So you need the video to live somewhere, and then you can add the link to it, to the place where it lives. So you can either put them in, if you're a Google school, you could have them in Google Drive, and then they can add a link to their Google Drive video. Sometimes that can be problematic, those that have tried that. But yes, that in theory works. They could, if you had a YouTube account, you could upload them to YouTube and put links to the YouTube videos in there, which are unlisted or private or whatever. The other option is that if you are using Flipgrid, and I think that you maybe could have access to Flipgrid, Jonathan, because I think you might be a Microsoft school. They could make the video straight into Wakelet, but that's only if they haven't done it already. So if if the kids have already made their videos, that's not so much of an option. Other options are any place like where you can put a video and then get a link to it. So Dropbox, for instance, or Microsoft what's it called? OneDrive. Is that right? Yeah. OneDrive, if they put it there, they just need to grab a link to the video and then they'll put it into their Wakelet collection. That's what I would do. Is there anything else I've missed, really? Yeah, I think that's about it. It's just a link to a file, essentially. So they just need to put the video somewhere where you can get a link to it, generate a link to it. Yeah.
Kath clarified that students can add things into your Wakelet, but what is good is that students cannot delete other students' work. And she said she used this with a few naughty kids. It is great.
She's awesome.
I love that. One last question that came through the chat during this. Julie had to leave. So she wanted to know if the chat is available later. So I said what I was going to do was make sure that you were answering questions at the end. Then she could go, if she wasn't a part of the MMC, she could go to YouTube. But we did just get another question in YouTube from Darshini. If I'm saying that incorrectly, I apologize. Our school doesn't allow YouTube videos because of all the advertising, etc.
Yeah.
When you embed / share a video in Wakelet from YouTube, do you still get all the ads at the end?
So that's what we were talking about. Well,
at the end.
You mean the related videos, though?
Yeah, I think when you embed, you're not going to get the next up. Yeah. When I did the trick, do you remember the trick with the T-U? That is like embedding. And it didn't do it either there. It only threw the video back to the beginning. Like once it hit the end, it didn't like start playing another video. It just replayed the video.
Yeah. I haven't had it ever play another video, a related video, or what they think is related, because it's questionable sometimes what they consider related. I haven't never seen that. It's just kind of been the isolated video. So, yeah. I'm just checking the chat now as well.
Yeah. Do you get notifications when students add their assignments?
I don't know about that. Kath can probably answer that for me. She's more of an expert. I should have had Kath on today with me. More of an expert than me on that side of things. I don't know that you would, but if you have set up their accounts as connected to yours, so particularly if they're under 13, I don't know that Kath has actually, because she works with like secondary school, like older students, 13 and up probably. Oh, some of her year 7s might be under. But if you have set them up as part of your account and imported them from Google Classroom or Microsoft, then you can go at any time and see their work. Whether you get a notification, I don't know. I don't believe so. You might need to say, no, Kath saying no notifications. That's not a bad thing sometimes. So my workflow would be that you would set the assignment to the students, and then their submission would be them providing a link to the Wakelet to you. So you won't know if they've made changes. They'll send you the link and then you'll just double check it. Make sure they've actually populated the Wakelet collection or created it or whatever. That's probably what I would do. Yeah. I'm just reading Kath's other comment. For performance videos, they have to save their videos into a digital folder and then paste the link into their Wakelet. Yeah. And if they've got multiple videos, they could go into a folder that's inside Google Drive or into a folder that's in Dropbox or Microsoft OneDrive.
Katie, question about the Flipgrid app that's embedded into it. It might be redundant, but we could record directly into Flipgrid, but can you use the Flipgrid app to record directly into Wakelet?
So the Flipgrid inside Wakelet, the Flipgrid option is a shorts camera. So it's
it is. Okay, so you get that's a 10-minute video.
Yeah, it's a 10-minute video. But I tell you what, though, and I could not find the answer to this. I was researching. Flipgrid's had a change in the last couple of weeks, 2 or 3 or 4 weeks or so, where there are this is frustrating to me as someone who's not attached to a school or a classroom, because I have Flipgrid. I've invited people to Flipgrid topics, just the topic, to contribute. So, submit your frequently asked question about music tech on this Flipgrid topic. They all have to now be part of a group. What is their terminology now? Grids and groups.
It is group. Yeah, it is group. Yeah. It's no more grids and stuff like that.
Now, you can't have, what was it that was the problem? You can't invite people who are not attached to I can't remember what the issue was. There's some issue where I can't just have like general public people now joining my Flipgrid and answering questions. It's kind of more locked down as a private environment thing. So I'm yet to find the answer to what are all of the people who are running PD sessions who were using Flipgrid to get like video testimonials or responses or ask questions or just use it as an engagement tool in their sessions, how to do that now, because I couldn't find a way. Why was I saying all of that? The reason I was saying all of that is, thanks, Jonathan and Darshini. The reason I was saying all of that is when I first used the Flipgrid camera the other day to check it, I got kind of a weird thing happen where I opened it up in Wakelet. It asked me to log into Flipgrid, of course. That makes sense because you need to kind of give the apps permission to connect with each other. But then inside Wakelet, I was not seeing the camera view. I was seeing the view of my Flipgrid account where I could see the list of my topics and groups and stuff. But then the second time when I went back to it, it was fine and I saw the camera. So I don't know how it's the end of that was that I tried to search for like updated information on the Wakelet website about how that shorts camera is working, and I couldn't find it. So it would be super interesting to find out. It was a very recent change to Flipgrid, so I don't know. Anyway, some testing is a good thing. If you want to try using the Flipgrid camera with your students, just give it a go. I'd be interested in hearing. I'm not in a school environment, so sometimes it's hard for me to know how things work, like when you're in a Google school, for instance, or in a Microsoft school. How does it work if the students log in? And Kath, if you're still on, I'd love to know when your kids use it. I think that they are using it. I know that you've used it yourself, but how it's worked for them. And have you done it recently in the last couple of weeks? Because things have changed a little bit. Anyway, yes, PD certificate for anyone who needs it is there too. And thank you, Anne, for the thank you. Yeah, Howard's just got a question. Do students need to create an account to access my shared Wakelet link in the Google Classroom post? If you want them to contribute to the Wakelet, they do need to have a Wakelet account. But if you only want them to view and access information on your own Wakelet collection, they don't need to do anything, which is awesome. That's why I love it. So the reason I use Wakelet nowadays, and have done for a long time for all of my webinars and workshop links, is that I was using Pinterest. And when Pinterest came out, it was like the, thank goodness solution for that scenario, because you had a Pinterest board and I could put all the stuff on like I do with Wakelet now. And then Pinterest brought in the whole, you have to have a Pinterest account to view anything on Pinterest. And to me, it's not a big deal because it's a free account, but it was just a little barrier. Whereas with Wakelet, you can view someone's Wakelet collection without having any account. You can see everything. You can click through the links. You can do all the stuff. And it's just easier. So now I've used it for years for this purpose. It's been just great. Yeah. Thanks, Howard. Thank you, Sarah. Yes, if anyone needs to go, feel free. You're dismissed. If you want to hang around and ask some more questions, it doesn't have to be Wakelet connected, but yeah, feel free to do that too. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thanks, Kath. We have Flipgrid for digital performing portfolios. They have the option of recording via Flipgrid within Wakelet or recording separately. Flipgrid can be a bit hit and miss when recorded straight from Wakelet. Sometimes it's buggy. Yeah, that's been my experience too. Your kids are doing it now. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So, and getting back to Jonathan's question, who may or may not be still on, if the grade 6 students, if you use Flipgrid for them to record their performances, you can just link to the Flipgrid video. And to be honest, that would be the smoothest workflow and probably look the most beautiful on the Wakelet collection. I suspect, I haven't tried it, but I suspect that a link directly to a single Flipgrid video probably comes straight into the Wakelet collection. I haven't tested that, but it probably looks really good. I should have tested that. I'll test that later anyway.
Well, I mean, the Flipgrid topics, groups, it's going to have a link to the groups if you made that public. But I don't know about the individual videos, unless they're making, but they are making shorts.
If it's in the topic, I don't know. So things have changed. You might not be able to anymore, but you used to be able to view a single student video that lived on a topic and inside a group. It's like a house within a house. Single, and then, there's a QR code and there's a link directly to that kid's video.
The students can log in and see all their videos and all their groups, and they can link it that way. You're right. Yeah. Because Sarah has a whole folder of that. Yeah.
The thing that I always forget about Flipgrid, and then I read it and I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. You know how they can go to, what is it, like my.flipgrid.com?
Yes, that's what I mean. They can go into their own, that's where Sarah goes in. She sees all her groups. And that, she should be able to share.
She can grab a link from that page to a video, can't she? Yes.
Yeah.
But that would be cool. I'd love to try that and see how it works. Thank you to those that have said thank you. Thank you to Judith, and who else has said? Jason Dallas. I don't know the name of that person. And Danch and Debbie. Thanks, Debbie. Oh, Debbie, I had one of yours as an example actually handy. I forgot to show it. It was just like a collection of your songs from your winter collection of songs. So thank you for that. Yeah, I was hoping that some of you who were using Wakelet have found out a few more extra features and stuff. I actually did discover a couple of things myself. You always find out more new things as you go. Kath's saying kids can download their Flipgrid video too, the ones that they've created directly in Wakelet, I'm guessing. Awesome. Thank you, Lisa. Thanks, Kevin. Sarah, thank you. Therese, Stephanie, Julie, Diana, and so on. All right, we might wind up now. The chat window will be open for just a little bit longer, and I'll keep an eye on it for a second. And other than that, next month, there's a voting link up the top of this chat window. If you're on the watching page with the chat window next to it, there is a voting form. I'd love to know what you're thinking for future, what you would like to see in future webinars. I am actually going to change things up a little bit. To be honest, I've been doing monthly webinars like this for more than 18 months now, and they're pretty intense. It's a lot of work, even just for a single webinar. And even in March and April last year, I think I did about like 6 in the space of 2 months. It was just a little bit nutty. I'm going to dial it back now. So it's probably going to be every other month for the live webinar. But if you're a member of the community, don't worry, because in the in-between times, I'll be doing extra stuff for you guys. It'll just be like the public free webinar will be every other month now. So I'm planning on doing one in September. And then there will be a break in October. There'll be one in November. No, is that right? I don't know. I worked it out so that it was a break in December. Yeah, that's right. November, yes. December, nothing, because no one's doing things in December. And then January, back on again. So give me your feedback for future topics. My plan for next one is probably to kind of do a back to basics type webinar for just generally for music tech or getting started with music tech? Because I do get that question quite a lot. Places that you can look at in incorporating technology, how to do it simply and not freak out, just how to do it in a gentle way, get started, what to prioritize over other things. I don't know. So that's one option, and I've actually included that in the voting form. If you don't see something suggested in the voting form, like I've got 5 topics I've suggested. If you want to add your own, please do that. Thank you so much, Amy, for being here again. It's always so much fun with you. And yes, we will see you around. Come and join us inside the community if you haven't already joined. We'd love to have you there. And yeah, we're going to get going on lots of other stuff. So thank you for all the lovely comments. All right. Lisa, I've added the Star Wars link just quickly. The Star Wars link is in the Wakelet collection for this session. Just refresh your page if you've got it open. I've just added it. Maybe I'll just double check while I'm still on that it is actually there. I do hit edit and then done, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's down the bottom, towards the bottom. Is it there? Can anyone see it? Month loading.
I'm checking right now. I always forget to click done. And then I accidentally share the edit link, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. Last tip about Wakelet: if you're editing it, no one else will see your changes until you hit done. I'll just pop the direct link to that actual collection as well.
There it is. Yep, Star Wars is in it now. It's the second to last. It's second to last link.
There you go. That's the direct link to it in the chat window. Yeah. I'll add it in. Oh, Cass learnt some new things too. Woohoo! Yay.
That's amazing.
All right. Thanks, everybody. See you next time. Bye.